You ever feel like you're the only one in the room not in on the joke? That's me, right now. Except the joke's on me. The law firm's top floor lounge buzzes with fake energy. Streamers hang like limp snakes from the ceiling, and someone thought it would be clever to get a cake shaped like a briefcase. Happy Retirement Julian. It reads in frosting that looks like it was applied by a drunk toddler. I'm Julian Monroe, 42 years old, and apparently retiring whether I want to or not. The partners made it clear. Take the buyout or face a very public audit of my client files. Funny how quickly 20 years of loyalty evaporates when the firm needs a scapegoat for their own mistakes. My wife Adriana stands near the windows, her perfectly styled blonde hair catching the afternoon light. She's holding court with her usual crowd, Cassie Keller, her best friend since college, and a handful of other suburban queens who treat gossip like a competitive sport. Adriana runs her own PR agency, and she's turned networking into an art form. Every smile is calculated, every laugh timed for maximum effect. Julian, my law partner, Dave Brennan, approaches with a champagne flute and that particular smile lawyers use when they're about to screw you. Hell of a party. Adriana really outdid herself organizing this. That's news to me. I thought the firm was throwing this little farewell circus. But looking around, I noticed the personal touches, the photos of our family scattered on tables, the playlist featuring songs from our wedding. This isn't a retirement party. This is something else entirely. Our daughter Sabrina, 21 and home from Northwestern, has her phone out recording everything. She's inherited her mother's instinct for drama and her grandfather's timing. My son Max, 19 and infinitely wiser than his sister, hovers near the appetizer table looking uncomfortable. He catches my eye and shrugs apologetically. The local newspaper sent someone, a kid who looks like he started shaving last week. The Millfield Tribune isn't exactly the Washington Post, but in a town of 30,000, they might as well be. Everyone reads the local rag, especially the social pages where Adriana's events always seem to get featured. Ladies and gentlemen, Adriana's voice cuts through the chatter. She's standing now, champagne glass raised, commanding attention like she's accepting an Oscar. The room falls quiet. I want to thank you all for coming to celebrate Julian's transition. She pauses, and something in that pause makes my stomach clench. My husband has given so much to this firm, to this community, and especially to our family. Applause ripples through the room. I force a smile and raise my own glass. Julian has always been a man of service, Adriana continues, her voice carrying that practiced tone she uses for client presentations. He served his clients, his partners, and his family with such dedication, such sacrifice. The word sacrifice hangs in the air like smoke. Cassie Keller is smiling now, the kind of smile a cat gives a mouse. Which is why Adriana reaches into her purse and pulls out a manila envelope. I wanted to present him with something special, a token of appreciation for all those years of service. She walks toward me, heels clicking on the hardwood floor. The room is silent now, everyone sensing something is about to happen. Sabrina has her phone aimed directly at us. Adriana hands me the envelope. It's heavier than it should be, and when I look at her face, I see something I've never seen before. Not anger, not sadness, but something colder. Satisfaction. Open it, she says softly, but in the silence everyone hears. My fingers work the clasp automatically, my lawyer's instincts taking over even as my brain screams warnings. Inside are papers, official papers. I recognize the letterhead, Morrison, Pike & Associates, divorce attorneys, the best in the county. The first page is a petition for dissolution of marriage. My name is typed neatly in the respondent field. Adriana's signature is already there, dated yesterday. I look up at the room full of faces, some shocked, some embarrassed, some, like Cassie, openly gleeful. The newspaper kid is scribbling frantically in his notebook. Adriana, I say quietly, what is this? It's your retirement gift, she says, loud enough for everyone to hear. Freedom, for both of us. 23 years of marriage, 2 kids, a mortgage, joint bank accounts. A life built piece by piece, and she's dismantling it in front of 50 people like it's a magic trick. I flip through the pages. She wants the house, the cars, half my retirement fund, full custody of Max, even though he's 19 and can choose for himself. The demands are breathtaking in their scope and cruelty. But here's the thing about being a lawyer for 20 years. You learn to read the fine print. And buried in subsection C of page 7, I see something that makes me smile for the first time all day. She's claiming emotional cruelty and abandonment, the kind of claims that require proof, the kind that can backfire spectacularly if the evidence doesn't support them. I look up at Adriana, who's watching me with barely concealed triumph. Then I look at Sabrina, still recording, at Cassie, practically vibrating with excitement, at the newspaper kid who's just witnessed the story of the month. I pull out my pen, the Mont Blanc she gave me for our 10th anniversary, and start signing, every page, every initial, every acknowledgement of service. The room is so quiet, I can hear the scratch of ink on paper. When I'm finished, I hand the papers back to Adriana and lean close enough that only she can hear. You have no idea what you just did, I whisper. Then I straighten up, smile at the room, and head for the door. The crowd parts like I'm contagious. As I pass the bar, I hear Cassie's voice, low, but not low enough. He won't fight back. He's too weak. We own him now. I pause at the door and turn back. Adriana is accepting congratulations like she just announced a promotion. Sabrina is already uploading the video to her social media accounts. The newspaper kid is probably composing his headline. But Cassie Keller is looking right at me, and in her eyes, I see something that changes everything. Not just satisfaction, but ownership. Like this was her idea all along. I give her a little salute and walk out into the parking garage. My footsteps echo off the concrete walls as I head toward my car, a sensible Honda Civic that Adriana always said made me look like a middle manager. 23 years, 2 kids, a life's work. They think they've won. They have no idea the game has just begun. 3 days later, I'm living in a studio apartment above Murphy's hardware store on Main Street. It's the kind of place you rent by the week, with thin walls and a radiator that sounds like it's digesting a motorcycle. But it's mine, and right now, that's all that matters. The video Sabrina posted has been viewed 8,000 times. In a town like Millfield, that's basically everyone with an internet connection, plus their relatives in other states. The comments range from sympathetic to savage, with most people taking Adriana's side. After all, she's the successful businesswoman who volunteers at the animal shelter and organizes the annual Christmas toy drive. I'm just the lawyer who helped developers tear down the old Miller farm for another strip mall. My phone buzzes. Text from Max. Dad, can we talk? I'm at Red's boxing gym, working out my frustrations on a heavy bag that's seen better decades. The place smells like sweat and determination, and it's become my refuge. Coach Red, nobody calls him by his first name, is a 60-year-old former Marine who treats everyone like they're fresh recruits until they prove otherwise. Your form's getting better, he says, holding the bag steady while I throw combinations. But you're still fighting angry. Angry makes you stupid. I pause, breathing hard. What would you do if someone humiliated you in front of the entire town? Depends. Red's weathered face is serious. You want to win or you want to feel better? What's the difference? Feeling better is temporary. Winning lasts. He taps his temple with a gnarled finger. You want to win? Don't fight their fight. Make them bleed where they don't expect. My phone buzzes again. This time it's Dave Brennan. Julian, we need to talk about the transition. Some clients are asking questions. I text back. Which clients? Adriana's agency, for starters. Of course. I've been handling the legal work for Voss Communications, That's Adriana and her business partner Elliot's company, for 3 years. Contract reviews, employment issues, the occasional crisis management. It's been a steady source of income and, I thought, a way to support my wife's career. Now I'm wondering what else it's been. I meet Max at the diner on 4th Street. He looks like me at 19, tall, dark hair, serious eyes that take in more than they let on. But where I learned to hide my thoughts behind lawyer's poker face, Max wears his emotions honestly. "This is messed up, Dad," he says before I even sit down. "Mom's been planning this for months, maybe longer." "What do you mean?" "The papers you signed? She had them ready weeks ago, and Cassie's been coming around the house a lot, having these quiet conversations with Mom. They stop talking whenever I walk in. The waitress brings coffee without being asked. Small-town perks. Everyone knows your order." "There's something else," Max continues. "I saw Mom's phone last week. She was texting someone named E a lot, like constantly, and not about business. Elliot Voss, Adriana's business partner. Smooth-talking, perpetually tanned, drives a Tesla, and wears suits that cost more than most people's rent. He's one of those guys who calls everyone buddy and gives handshakes that last too long." "How long has this been going on?" I ask. "I don't know. But Dad, there's more. Sabrina knows about it. She's been covering for Mom, making excuses when you'd call and Mom wasn't where she said she'd be." The betrayal hits deeper than I expected. Sabrina has always been Adriana's daughter more than mine, but I thought we had something. Apparently, I thought wrong about a lot of things. "What are you going to do?" Max asks. Good question. The old Julian would have hired a lawyer, filed counter motions, fought this out in court like a gentleman. But the old Julian also trusted his wife, believed in his friends, and thought that doing the right thing mattered. The old Julian was an idiot. "I'm going to get some answers," I tell Max, "and then I'm going to fix this." That evening, I drive to the house I've been paying for since before Sabrina was born. It's a colonial in Millfield's nicest neighborhood, with a circular driveway and mature oak trees that I planted myself. The lights are on in the living room, and I can see Adriana through the window talking on the phone. I use my key, technically still my house until the divorce is final, and walk in like I belong there. Because I do. Adriana looks up, startled. She's wearing yoga pants and a Northwestern sweatshirt, her hair pulled back in a ponytail. Without the makeup and professional armor, she looks younger, more like the woman I married. "Julian, you can't just— My name's still on the deed," I say. "We need to talk." She ends her phone call without saying goodbye. "There's nothing to talk about. The papers are filed. My lawyer says—" "Your lawyer can go to hell." I sit down in my favorite chair, the leather recliner Adriana always hated. "Who's E?" Her face goes pale. "What?" "E, the person you've been texting constantly, the person you've been lying to me about." I pull out my phone and show her a photo I took earlier. It's a hotel receipt, found in her car's cup holder when I retrieved some of my belongings. The Marriott downtown, last Tuesday night. The same night I was supposedly at a client dinner in Chicago. "That's—" she starts, then stops. "That's what, Adriana? Research for a client? A girls' night out with Cassie?" She's quiet for a long moment. Then her chin comes up, and I see the woman who built a successful business from nothing. The fighter. "Yes," she says simply. "It's Elliot. We've been seeing each other for 6 months." The confirmation should hurt more than it does. Instead, I feel something like relief. At least now I know what I'm fighting. "Why?" I ask. "Because you're not there, Julian. You haven't been there for years. You work, you come home, you watch TV, you go to bed. When's the last time we talked about anything that mattered? When's the last time you looked at me like I was more than just part of the furniture?" She's not wrong. Somewhere between building careers and raising kids and paying mortgages, we stopped being lovers and became roommates. But roommates don't humiliate each other in public. Roommates don't plot and scheme and destroy each other's lives for entertainment. So you decided to end our marriage at my retirement party, in front of everyone we know? Cassie thought it would send a message, that I'm not some victim waiting around for scraps of attention. Cassie thought, I file that away for later. And what did you think? I thought you deserved to know how it feels to be blindsided. I stand up and walk to the mantel, where photos of our family smile back at me. Vacations, birthdays, Christmas mornings, 23 years of shared history reduced to evidence in a divorce proceeding. You want to know how it feels? I turn back to her. It feels like I've been married to a stranger. The woman I married wouldn't have done this. She would have talked to me, fought with me, given me a chance to fix whatever was broken. Some things can't be fixed, Julian. No, I agree. They can't. I head for the door, then pause. By the way, you might want to check Elliot's background a little more carefully. His divorce from his first wife was pretty ugly. Something about multiple affairs and financial irregularities. But I'm sure he's changed. Her face goes white. That's not true. Ask him, I suggest. Better yet, ask his ex-wife. She still lives in town. I leave her standing there, doubt creeping across her features like shadows at sunset. Outside, I sit in my car for a moment, thinking. Adriana and Elliot want to play games? Fine. But they're about to learn that I've been playing in a much bigger league than small-town adultery. Time to show them what a real lawyer can do when he stops playing nice. The next morning, I'm at my computer before sunrise doing what I do best, research. 20 years of legal work teaches you how to find information people don't want found and how to use public records like a scalpel. Elliot Voss, it turns out, is a fascinating study in creative accounting and selective truth-telling. His divorce from wife number 1, Patricia Voss, was finalized 3 years ago. The court records make for interesting reading. Multiple affairs. Check. Financial irregularities involving joint business ventures. Check. A restraining order that expired last year. Very interesting check. I print everything and organize it in a folder marked Research. Then I start on Cassie Keller. Cassie has been Adriana's best friend since college, but she's also been a thorn in my side for years. Every girl's trip, every shopping expedition, every late-night phone call that started with Cassie needs. She's one of those friends who specializes in creating drama and then positioning herself as the solution. But there's something else, something that's been nagging at me since the party, the way she looked at me, like she'd been waiting for this moment for years. I dig deeper into my memory and find it. 8 years ago, Cassie applied for a paralegal position at my firm. She had good credentials, great references, and Adriana had been pushing me to hire her. I was ready to say yes until the background check came back. Theft from her previous employer. A small amount, under $1,000, but theft nonetheless. The charges were dropped when she made restitution, but I couldn't hire her. Couldn't risk the firm's reputation for someone with sticky fingers. I told Adriana it was a budget issue. Told her we'd decided not to fill the position after all. I never mentioned the theft because I didn't want to hurt their friendship. Apparently, that was a mistake. My phone rings. Dave Brennan. Julian, we have a problem. Adriana's agency is pulling their account. They're saying there's a conflict of interest now that you're getting divorced. There is a conflict of interest, I point out. I can't represent my wife's business while she's trying to take half my assets. Right, but they're also demanding copies of all their files. Every contract, every memo, every email. They're claiming attorney-client privilege doesn't apply because you were acting as their agent, not their lawyer. That's interesting, and legally questionable. What does Morrison say? Morrison, Pike & Associates are Adriana's divorce lawyers, but they're also general practice. They might be advising Voss Communications too. They're backing the demand. Julian, I think you should turn over the files and walk away. This could get messy. It's already messy, Dave. The question is whether we're going to let them dictate the terms. I hang up and consider my options. Adriana and Elliot want their files? Fine. But attorney-client privilege is a two-way street. If they're waiving it, then everything is fair game, including the things they probably forgot I knew about, like the Henderson Industries contract that Elliot negotiated last year, the one where he inflated the agency's credentials and promised services they couldn't deliver, the one I had to restructure 3 times to avoid a fraud claim, or the employee termination that Adriana wanted to handle quietly without following proper procedures, the one where I had to explain that paying someone to go away without documenting cause could be seen as admission of wrongdoing, or the tax issue from 2 years ago, where their bookkeeper made some creative interpretations of business expense deductions. Nothing illegal, but definitely aggressive. The kind of thing that looks bad in the wrong light. I make copies of everything and organize it chronologically. Then I draft a response to their demand that's a masterpiece of legal compliance and strategic revelation. I'll give them their files, all right. Every single page, including my notes, memos, and recommendations that they chose to ignore. But first, I need to have a conversation with Patricia Voss. She lives in Riverside Heights, the newer development on the other side of town. It's one of those places where every house looks the same except for the color of the shutters, and every yard is maintained by the same landscaping company. Patricia Voss is 45, brunette, and has the kind of tired eyes that come from surviving a bad marriage. She invites me in without hesitation, like she's been expecting this conversation. "You're Adriana's husband," she says, pouring coffee in a kitchen that could be featured in Better Homes and Gardens. "I heard about the party. I'm sorry." "Don't be. I'm here because I think we might be able to help each other." She raises an eyebrow. "How so?" I pull out the divorce papers and show her Elliot's name listed as a witness to Adriana's signature. "Your ex-husband is having an affair with my wife. He's also helping her try to take me for everything I'm worth. I thought you might have some insights into his methods." Patricia laughs, but there's no humor in it. "Oh, honey, you have no idea what you're dealing with." For the next hour, she tells me about life with Elliot Voss, the charm offensive that swept her off her feet, the gradual isolation from friends and family, the financial control disguised as protection, the affairs that he convinced her were her fault for not being supportive enough. "He's a predator," she says finally. "He finds successful women and feeds off them until there's nothing left. Then he moves on to the next one." "How did you get away?" "I hired a private investigator, documented everything. When I finally filed for divorce, I had enough evidence to bury him. He gave me everything I asked for rather than have it all come out in court." She disappears into another room and comes back with a manila folder. "I kept copies of everything. Insurance, you might say, in case he ever tried to come back into my life." The folder contains photographs, bank statements, hotel receipts, and phone records. A complete picture of Elliot's extracurricular activities during their marriage. Some of the photos are quite artistic, if you're into that sort of thing. "He has a type," Patricia explains. "Successful, confident women who are just vulnerable enough to believe they need him. He studies them, finds their weak spots, and exploits them." I think about Adriana. Successful? Definitely. Confident? In business, yes. But she's always been insecure about her age, her appearance, her worth outside of her professional achievements. Exactly the kind of vulnerabilities Elliot would know how to exploit. "What's his end game?" I ask. "Control, money, power. He wants to be the man behind the woman, pulling the strings. Your wife's agency is probably more valuable than you realize." I think about Voss Communications' client list, their contracts, their reputation. Adriana built it from nothing, but Elliot's name is on the door now too. He's been positioning himself as an equal partner, even though he came in years after she established the business. "Patricia, would you be willing to testify about Elliot's patterns, if it came to that?" She considers for a moment. "Will it hurt him?" "Probably." "Good. She closes the folder and hands it to me. Destroy him, for both our sakes. I drive home with Patricia's folder on the passenger seat and a plan forming in my mind. Adriana thinks she's playing chess while I'm playing checkers, but she's forgotten that I've been playing in courtrooms for 20 years, where the stakes are higher and the rules are less forgiving. Time to show her what a real game looks like. The next morning, I walk into Voss Communications like I own the place, which, technically, I do have a financial interest in, since I've been providing legal services at a discount for 3 years. The receptionist, a young woman named Kelly who always seemed to like me, looks surprised. Mr. Monroe, we heard that I was retiring? I am, but I have some files to deliver. I hold up a banker's box filled with folders. Is Adriana in? She's in a meeting with Mr. Voss and some potential clients. Should I? No need to interrupt. I'll just leave these with you. The meeting is happening in the conference room, with glass walls that face the reception area. I can see Adriana and Elliot presenting to a couple in expensive suits. They're animated, confident, selling hard. They don't notice me until I'm halfway across the lobby. Adriana's face goes white when she sees me. Elliot's expression shifts from surprise to anger to something that might be fear. The potential clients turn to see what's captured their attention. I wave cheerfully and continue to Kelly's desk. These are all the files for Voss Communications, I tell Kelly, speaking loudly enough for the conference room to hear. Every contract, every memo, every piece of correspondence. Ms. Voss and Mr. Voss requested them for their new legal team. I start pulling folders out of the box and stacking them on Kelly's desk. Each folder is labeled clearly. Henderson Industries, contract irregularities. Johnson termination, improper procedures. Tax issues 2021-2022. Voss personal expenses claimed as business deductions. Kelly's eyes widen as she reads the labels. In the conference room, Elliot has stood up and is heading for the door. Julian, he says, his voice tight with control. This isn't the appropriate venue for delivering files you requested? I disagree. I pull out the last folder, the thickest one. This one's my personal favorite. Elliot Voss background investigation, multiple sources. Really fascinating reading. The potential clients are watching this exchange like it's dinner theater. Adriana has gone from white to red, and she's gathering papers like she's about to end the meeting. I'm sorry, she tells the couple, but we're going to need to reschedule. Actually, I interrupt, you might want to stay for this part. It's about truth in advertising. I open Patricia's folder and pull out a photograph. It's Elliot, clearly recognizable, in a compromising position with someone who definitely isn't Patricia or Adriana. This was taken 18 months ago, I announce. About 4 months after Mr. Voss became a partner in this agency. I thought the potential clients might want to know about the company's commitment to fidelity. Elliot lunges for the photo, but I'm faster. 20 years of boxing training pays off as I sidestep him and he crashes into Kelly's desk, scattering files everywhere. Assault, I say cheerfully to the room in general. In front of witnesses. Kelly, would you mind calling the police? Don't you dare, Adriana snaps at Kelly, who looks like she'd rather be anywhere else. The potential clients are backing toward the door. The man pulls out his phone and starts recording. This is going to be all over social media within the hour. Julian, Adriana says, her voice calm. Get out. Now. I'm just delivering files you requested, but since you bring it up, I pull out another document. This is a formal notice of withdrawal of legal representation. Effective immediately, I no longer represent Voss Communications in any capacity, which means attorney-client privilege no longer applies to any of your communications with me. I can see her processing this. All those emails asking for advice on how to handle the divorce, all those conversations about hiding assets and maximizing her settlement, all those strategies she thought were protected by privilege. You can't do that, Elliot says, getting back to his feet. His expensive suit is wrinkled and his perfect hair is messed up. Actually, I can, and I just did. I hand Kelly a business card. This is my new attorney. Any future communication should go through him. I head for the door, then pause. Oh, and Elliot? You might want to call Patricia. I think she has some things she'd like to discuss with you. Outside, I sit in my car and watch through the window as chaos erupts in the Voss Communications lobby. The potential clients are long gone. Adriana and Elliot are shouting at each other. Kelly is probably updating her resume. My phone buzzes with a text from Max. Dad, did you just destroy Mom's business on livestream? I look at my phone and realize the man with the recording device was streaming to Facebook. The video already has 200 views and climbing. I text back. I delivered some files. What happened after that was their choice. But I'm smiling as I drive away, because this is just the beginning. By evening, the video from Voss Communications has been viewed 12,000 times. The Millfield Facebook groups are buzzing with commentary, speculation, and hot takes. Someone has already turned it into a meme. I'm back at Red's gym, working the heavy bag, when my phone starts ringing. First Adriana, then Sabrina, then Dave Brennan, then numbers I don't recognize. Probably reporters. I let them all go to voicemail. Popular man tonight, Red observes, holding the bag steady. Something like that. You know what you're doing? I pause mid-combination. I'm fighting back. Fighting back is one thing. Starting a war is another. You sure you want to go down this road? I think about Adriana's face when she handed me those divorce papers. The satisfaction in Cassie's eyes. The way Sabrina filmed my humiliation for social media entertainment. They started the war, I tell Red. I'm just choosing the battlefield. When I get back to my apartment, there's a car waiting in the parking lot. Cassie Keller gets out as I approach the building. We need to talk, she says. Do we? She follows me up the stairs to my apartment. It's not much to look at. A studio with a kitchenette, a fold-out couch, and a view of the alley behind Murphy's Hardware. But it's clean, and it's mine. You're destroying Adriana, Cassie says without preamble. Adriana destroyed herself. I just delivered some files. You know what I mean. That video, those documents. You're trying to ruin her business. I pour myself a beer and don't offer her one. Why do you care, Cassie? I mean really care. She sits down without being invited. She's my best friend. Is she, or is she your project? Her eyes narrow. What's that supposed to mean? It means I've been thinking about that job you applied for 8 years ago, the one where you stole from your employer. The color drains from her face. I don't know what you're talking about. Sure you do. $1,500 from the client trust account. You paid it back, charges were dropped, but I couldn't hire you. Couldn't risk the firm's reputation. That was a misunderstanding. That was theft, and I think you've been holding a grudge ever since. I take a long sip of beer. I think you've been working on Adriana for years, poisoning her against me, waiting for the right moment to strike back. Cassie stands up abruptly. You're paranoid. Am I? Then explain this. I pull out my phone and show her a screenshot. It's from Adriana's social media account, a photo from 6 months ago. Adriana and Cassie at a restaurant having lunch. The timestamp shows it was taken on a Tuesday afternoon when Adriana told me she was in client meetings all day. So what? Friends have lunch. Look at the background. In the reflection of the restaurant window, you can see another table. Elliot Voss is sitting there, apparently alone, but positioned where he could see Adriana clearly. You introduced them, I continue. You set up the affair. You orchestrated the whole thing. That's ridiculous. Is it? Because I've been going through old photos, old social media posts, old credit card statements. Elliot shows up in the background of your group activities months before Adriana ever mentioned meeting him. You've been playing matchmaker, haven't you? Cassie's composure is cracking. Even if that were true, which it's not, what does it matter? Adriana is happier now than she's been in years. Adriana is being used, and you're helping it happen because you want to hurt me. You ruined my career. There it is. The truth, finally. I protected my firm from liability, I correct. If you wanted a career in law, you shouldn't have stolen from your employer. It was $1,500, and I paid it back. It was theft, and now you're getting your revenge by destroying my marriage. I finish my beer and set the bottle down carefully. The question is, what are you going to do when Elliot gets tired of Adriana and moves on to the next mark? That won't happen. It already is happening. I pull out one of Patricia's photographs. This one shows Elliot having dinner with a woman who isn't Patricia, Adriana, or anyone I recognize. The timestamp is from last week. Cassie stares at the photo. Where did you get this? From someone who knows Elliot better than you do. Someone who's seen this pattern before. She's quiet for a long moment. Then, what do you want? I want the truth. All of it. How long you've been planning this, what you promised Elliot, what the end game is. And if I tell you, then maybe Adriana doesn't have to lose everything when this falls apart. Maybe we can find a way to end this that doesn't destroy everyone involved. Cassie looks around my shabby apartment, then back at me. You're not the same man you were a month ago. No, I agree. I'm not. That man trusted people. That man believed in fairness and playing by the rules. That man got served divorce papers at his own retirement party. She's wavering. I can see it in her face. Elliot approached me first, she says finally. About a year ago, he'd heard about Adriana's agency, wanted to know if she might be interested in a partnership. I thought it was a legitimate business opportunity. When did it become personal? I don't know. Gradually. He started asking about her marriage, her happiness, whether she felt appreciated. I thought he was just being friendly. And you encouraged it. I thought she deserved better. The words explode out of her. You took her for granted, Julian. You came home, ate dinner, watched TV, went to bed. When was the last time you surprised her? When was the last time you made her feel special? She's not wrong, but that doesn't justify what they did. So you decided to help her have an affair instead of talking to me about it. I decided to help her find happiness. If that meant ending a marriage that was already over, then yes. And the public humiliation? Whose idea was that? Cassie looks away. Elliot said it would make a statement, show that Adriana was taking control of her life. Elliot said, not Adriana. Adriana agreed to it. After you and Elliot convinced her it was a good idea. Cassie doesn't answer, which is answer enough. I walk to the window and look out at the alley. Here's what's going to happen, Cassie. You're going to call Adriana right now and tell her everything. About Elliot's history, about his pattern with women, about the other affairs. You're going to give her a chance to protect herself before this gets worse. And if I don't? Then tomorrow morning, I'm filing a motion to add you as a party to the divorce proceedings. Conspiracy to defraud a spouse of marital assets. I'll subpoena your phone records, your bank statements, your social media accounts. I'll put you on the witness stand and ask you under oath about your role in planning this whole thing. You can't do that. I'm a lawyer, Cassie. I can do exactly that. She pulls out her phone with shaking hands. What am I supposed to tell her? The truth. For once. She dials Adriana's number. I can hear it ringing through the speaker. Adriana? It's me. We need to talk. Tonight. It's about Elliot. After she leaves, I sit in my empty apartment and think about what comes next. I've fired the first shots in what's going to be a very ugly war. Adriana will either listen to Cassie's warnings or she won't. Elliot will either back down or escalate. But I've learned something important tonight. I'm not the same man who got humiliated at that retirement party. That man would have taken his lumps and tried to rebuild quietly. This man fights back. And this is just getting started. The call comes at 2 in the morning. Adriana crying so hard I can barely understand her. Julian, can you come over? Please? I find her in our kitchen, my kitchen, technically, since my name's still on the deed. She's still in her pajamas, hair disheveled, eyes red from crying. There's a bottle of wine on the counter, mostly empty. He's gone, she says without preamble. Elliot? She nods. Cassie told me about his ex-wife, about the other women. I confronted him and he just packed his things and left, said he wasn't going to deal with my drama. I sit down across from her at the table where we've shared thousands of meals. I'm sorry. Are you? Really? I consider the question honestly. I'm sorry you're hurt. I'm not sorry he's gone. She laughs bitterly. I destroyed our marriage for him, humiliated you in front of everyone, ruined my business, and he just left. The business isn't ruined. Damaged, maybe, but not ruined. You don't understand. 3 clients canceled today. The Henderson Industries contract is under review. Our biggest account is threatening to pull out unless we can guarantee stability. I pour myself a glass of water from the tap. What does your lawyer say? Which lawyer? Morrison dropped me when I couldn't pay his retainer. Apparently, Elliot was supposed to cover the legal fees, but his check bounced. The hits keep coming. Elliot really was a predator, and he'd played Adriana perfectly. What do you want from me, Adriana? She looks up, and for a moment I see the woman I married 23 years ago. Young, vulnerable, hopeful. I want to take it back. All of it. The party, the papers, the humiliation. I want to go back to before any of this happened. We can't do that. I know. She wipes her eyes with a tissue. But maybe we can find a way forward that doesn't destroy both of us. I think about the folder of evidence upstairs in my apartment, the photographs, the financial records, the documentation of Elliot's pattern of abuse. I could use it to crush her in the divorce proceedings, take the house, the cars, her share of the retirement fund, leave her with nothing but debt and regret. The old Julian would have done exactly that. Scorched earth, total victory, complete vindication. But sitting here in our kitchen at 2 a.m, looking at my wife's broken face, I realize something. Winning isn't always about destroying your opponent. Here's what we're going to do, I say. We're going to call off the lawyers and handle this ourselves. Mediation, not litigation. We'll split the assets fairly, work out custody arrangements for Max, though he's old enough to choose for himself, and we'll both walk away with our dignity intact. What about the business? What about it? I can't run it alone. I don't have the legal expertise, the financial backing, the client relationships that Elliot was supposed to bring. I'm quiet for a long moment, thinking. You could bring in a different partner, someone you trust. Who would want to partner with me after this mess? Someone who's looking for a new challenge, someone who understands the business, knows the clients, has the legal expertise to help you rebuild. She stares at me. Julian, you can't be serious. Why not? I'm retired from the law firm. I need something to do with my time. And despite everything that's happened, I still believe in your vision for the agency. But we're getting divorced. So, lots of divorced couples run businesses together. We just have to keep it professional. She's quiet for a long time, considering. What would you want in return? Equal partnership, 50-50 split of profits and decision-making, and we rebuild the client relationships together, honestly this time. And personally? What happens with us? I look around the kitchen, thinking about all the history contained in these walls, the good times and the bad, the fights and the reconciliations, the slow drift from lovers to roommates to strangers. Personally, we're done, I say gently. We can be friends, maybe, co-parents, definitely, business partners if you want, but we're not husband and wife anymore. Too much has happened. She nods, tears starting again. I'm sorry, Julian. For all of it. You didn't deserve what I did to you. No, I didn't. But I wasn't the husband you needed either. We both made mistakes. So what now? Now we clean up the mess and move forward. Together, but separately. We shake hands across the table, and it feels like the end of one story and the beginning of another. 6 months later, Monroe and Voss Communications is thriving. We've rebuilt the client base, streamlined operations, and established a reputation for honest dealing and creative solutions. Adriana handles the creative side, I handle the legal and financial aspects, and we've hired 2 junior associates to help with the workload. Our divorce was finalized quietly, without drama or acrimony. We split the house sale proceeds, divided the retirement accounts, and worked out a custody arrangement that makes Max laugh because he's old enough to live wherever he wants anyway. Sabrina took longer to come around, but she eventually apologized for filming the divorce papers incident. She's back at Northwestern, studying journalism, and she says she learned something about the power of media to hurt people. Cassie Keller moved to another state. I heard she got a job with a nonprofit, helping victims of financial abuse. Maybe she learned something too. Elliot Voss disappeared entirely. Patricia heard he was in Florida, running the same con on a different set of victims. Some people never learn. I'm still living in the apartment above Murphy's Hardware, but I've upgraded to a bigger place with an actual bedroom and a view of the park. Adriana bought a condo downtown, closer to the office. We see each other every day at work, and it's fine, professional, sometimes even friendly. The boxing gym is still my refuge. Coach Red says my form has improved dramatically since I stopped fighting angry and started fighting smart. You won, he told me last week, after a particularly good sparring session. Did I? You got everything you wanted. Respect, financial security, a fresh start. Your ex-wife learned her lesson, your business is successful, and you didn't have to destroy anyone to get there. He's right, mostly. But winning isn't always about getting what you want. Sometimes it's about becoming who you need to be. The man who got served divorce papers at his retirement party would have been destroyed by betrayal and humiliation. He would have retreated, licked his wounds, and spent years feeling sorry for himself. This man fought back, not with anger or cruelty, but with intelligence and strategy. He turned a devastating loss into an opportunity for reinvention. And in the end, that's the best revenge of all, becoming someone better than you were before. I'm Julian Monroe, 53 years old, business owner and survivor, and I'm just getting started.